Let's talk crime in adolescence. Crime in adolescence can be described as the unlawful, violent, or nonviolent behavior performed by young people under the age of consent living within a specific community. The behavioral perspective is viewed as a theory learned from conditioning. The behavioral perspective has two processes: classical conditioning, learning by association, and operant conditioning, learning from consequences of behavior. The behavioral perspective explains that individuals are influenced by certain stimuli from the environment that influences or shapes their behavioral pattern. Crime in adolescence can be explained by using the behavioral perspective due to the fact that criminal behavior in most cases is influenced by certain stimuli which comes from the environment. In light of this, we can see that youth who are exposed to certain environments such as extreme poverty, drugs, and lack of opportunities to provide for their basic needs are often forced into criminal activities or go into what is referred to as survival mode. According to Bart's 2002, it is said that people who live in violent communities learn to model the behavior of their neighbor. Criminal activities among adolescents can be seen as a learned behavior influenced by certain stimuli within the environment. Burks and Akers, 1966, states that the strength of criminal behavior is a direct function of the amount, frequency, and probability of its reinforcement. For example, adolescents may observe the rewards for criminal activities such as selling drugs in their communities. They may observe the reward for selling drugs as easy money and status in their community and may view this as a rewarding opportunity to be someone that is respected and feared in the community. Hence, the frequency of monetary rewards, along with the feeling of glorification, gives them a sense of power and influences their behavioral pattern. The media is also another aspect of the external environment that portrays certain criminal activities as appropriate through music, videos, and television shows. For example, adolescents may see persons who they consider to be role models performing criminal activities and living a rewarding life by acquiring material possessions, and may view this as a justifiable act because the media may have created an image that it is okay to be a criminal. Hence, the behavioral perspective explains how crime in adolescence is a learned behavior which is influenced by certain stimuli in the environment. The method chosen is quantitative analysis. Quantitative research is defined as a research used to gather data in a numerical form in which can be categorized. Quantitative research uses statistics and mathematics so that it may be easier to tell the amount of times or frequency in which an event occurs. Quantitative research is practical based on the researcher's time and money, gives a true reflection of the social issue, hence it is valid. It is objective, it is reliable data. Quantitative analysis. Quantitative method also classifies information by first counting occurrences and then providing a statistical model for explaining these occurrences. In order to determine why teenagers commit crime, the quantitative method used to determine outcomes such as what stimuli in the environment influences crime. Another aspect can be what resources are available in the community for adolescents. Can these resources eliminate or decrease criminal activities?
Selection of participants. Participants for the study would be selected by using experimental research. The experimental research gives an opportunity to study two groups, Group 1 being the control, Group 2 being the experimental. During this type of study, the independent variable, meaning the cause, is systematically manipulated, and the dependent variable, meaning the effect, is measured. Participants for the study would be selected from secondary schools within the community and juvenile centers. The control. The control is volunteers within schools in the community that would be chosen. Permission must be granted from both parents of the individuals and the school's principal. The experimental. The experimental is random individuals who would be selected from the juvenile centers. Permission must also be granted from the Commissioner of Prisons. Permission being granted is important to ensure both the participants and the researchers' safety. This also helps with the confidentiality of participants' names. We must also keep in mind that the experimental group individuals' cooperation is not fully guaranteed.
Data collection. For the purpose of the study, questionnaires will be used in collecting information on crime in adolescents. A questionnaire allows questions to be presented open-ended, closed-ended, fixed choice, or even a combination of all. Closed-ended and fixed choice questions will be used in the questionnaire. The closed-ended questions will allow the data collected to be placed into two categories to be analyzed, yes or no. An example of this: have you ever committed a crime? Yes or no. The fixed choice questions are questions that provide a range of options. So for example, what type of crime did you commit? Is it a robbery, a murder, or even a kidnapping? The reasons why a questionnaire was chosen is because it is easy to administer, it saves time, it is cost effective, it obtains a large amount of data from a large geographical area, and the data can be easily tabulated, it can be easily measured and analyzed using statistical programs such as SPSS and Microsoft Excel. Crime in adolescents in relation to Caribbean countries. Crime has been increasing in the Caribbean, mainly in Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica. We have noticed that it is mainly happening with our youths in society. We have outlined two studies here, the first one being Restoring Paradise in the Caribbean, Combating Violence with Numbers. Early problem behaviors in adolescents are usually linked to violence and offending. They noted that exposure to violence in early childhood increases the chances of becoming violent later in life. This shows how the environment impacts our behavior. The other study being Comprehensive Assessment in Youth Violence in 5 Caribbean countries, Gender and Age Differences. Male youths are the ones who engage in violent activities. The author took into consideration the Caribbean culture, which shows that males are expected to be tough, hence engaging in activities that prove this to society. These activities cause them to engage in unlawful behaviors due to ecological factors of the environment. Scholarly article summary. For the purpose of the study, the article used was Drug Use and Violent Crime Among Adolescents by Marvin P. Dawkins. The purpose of this study was to examine the relationship between alcohol and drug use to violent and non-violent criminal activity among adolescent males. The methodology he employed was the use of quantitative method of research with the use of a questionnaire. Questionnaires were given to 342 persons, but only 312 participants took part. The two main variables researched were criminal offense variables. This was based on the response to the question: 1 year before coming to the training school, how many times had you done the following? The respondents were then given a list of 21 delinquency-related offenses in which they rated from never to more than 5. These offenses were offenses such as theft, general trouble with the police, alcohol abuse, gang fighting, and even arson. Dawkins used zero correlation techniques and multiple regression analysis. Zero correlation techniques were used to check the association of substance use with a type of crime, while multiple regression analysis examined the influence of substance use as a predictor of criminal behavior relative to the other predictors including race and criminal history. The results and discussion from Dawkins' paper shows zero correlation techniques in Chart 1. Chart 1 illustrates the percentage of criminal offenses related to the type of substance abuse. As seen in the pie chart, 46% account for alcohol, while 27% accounts for both marijuana and heroin. The finding shows that alcohol plays an important role in contributing to violent and non-violent crimes, while marijuana may be used in delinquent subcultures due to its link to gang-related violence. The multiple regression analysis shown in Chart 2 illustrates the percentage of offenses. It is seen in the pie chart that 62% accounts for criminal history, 24% accounts for substance abuse, and 14% accounts for race. Criminal history variables are the most powerful predictors of the majority of the offenses. Dawkins concluded that substance use, namely alcohol use, is associated with a variety of offenses, including those that are violent and non-violent. When conventional predictors of crime are introduced into the analysis, the association between substance use and criminal offenses is less direct. These findings, however, does not suggest that there is the likelihood of a particular substance use associated with violent, rather non-violent, but it tells which one is more related to the type of offenses. Thank you for listening, and I hope that our video was informative.